from the bottom. Yes, Proton has essentially failed. It only succeeded because of the enormous protection, temporarily, which made it. I mean, under the ASEAN Free Trade Agreement, as soon as the protections comes off, its market share is falling. The only way it can be, in my opinion, it can be saved is an arrangement with an international, a global car manufacturer, and it basically means giving it away to foreigners. And so far, they have not been prepared to bite the political bullet on that. I actually put Pawaja Steel in with the scandals because although it's ill-conceived and it was just a major disaster in itself, it was also bled white from within and nothing done to track down those people who were responsible for it. I agree with you about Dr. Mahathir's sense of destiny. He feels that way, and it's manifested itself. That's what I said in my opening comments. His certitude that he's right. He has absolutely no doubt whatsoever when he pronounces. He doesn't say, "I think this." He said, Abdullah Badawi is wrong. Everyone knows he's wrong. Well, some people, didn't think he was wrong, but on a lot of things. But and that, so when he wrote the letter to Tunku Abdul Rahman in 1969, Tunku Abdul Rahman was wrong. So I had to, tackle him on it. So there's absolute conviction that he is right, and we saw this in retirement as well. So yes, for sure, he has that, and it hasn't left him. That's why he's still buying into politics. The dozing in the car and then coming out as a man on fire. I've got a section, a page or two in there on this. His ability to nap, and then his energy level is legendary. I mean, right into his 70s, he was doing the same sort of thing, conducting all-day sessions, asking sharp questions, hosting events in the night, identifying people by names, stand there to shake their hand and they leave in the evening. Just amazing. I mean, he could do that. People half his age couldn't keep up with him. And he did it, of course, decade after decade. I mean, just think. So you mentioned chip on his shoulder. That's part of the reason. That's part of the reason for the Maverick in the title. I say early in the piece in my discussion of him that it goes back to his circumstances. He was born in Kedah, but I quote a couple of his closest political friends and allies saying he's got a chip on his shoulder. Some people think it's an inferiority complex or whatever, but whatever way you describe it, there's something on him. Disappointment with people. I mean, absolutely disappointed with people that, for instance, on Proton, some economists disagree with it because it actually made no sense when you've got a small domestic market and you're going to take on one of these enterprises that was basically a global industry, and it wasn't initially. The Proton car wasn't even designed for the export market. It was going to be based on the domestic market only. So economists disagree with it. Then a lot of other Malaysians just didn't think it was possible for little Malaysia with about 14 million people to start building cars. This sort of the sort of emblem of a developed country. Dr. Mahathir was particularly distressed that the people just couldn't think big enough and get the mind around this whole idea that we can be there like the major countries. On the issue of Daim Zainuddin, the issue of Daim Zainuddin's role, especially in UMNO finances and in his own business, I explained earlier that on the UMNO political fund, that very few people, including the Supreme Council of UMNO, had access to the fund. During Dr. Mahathir's Prime Ministership, only Dr. Mahathir and Daim Zainuddin, as UMNO Treasurer, had access to the books. Daim ran it. Both of them told me that. He ran it, and from time to time he would keep Dr. Mahathir informed. In other words, Daim is the only person who actually knows, and I don't believe anyone else will in time be able to contradict him on what happened to all these business ventures, because only he had access to the books. It's impossible for anyone else to really start. I mean, there were rumours around in UMNO that basically 5 or 6 billion ringgit disappeared from UMNO's assets. People just said, "Hey, I thought that was an UMNO company." And Tuan said, no, that's my company, actually. And so there was a lot of this going on, but there are people, seriously people in number, who think, but how you reach that conclusion is very difficult, because I repeat, you'd be a brave person to accuse Tuan Dai of any manipulation of the books when only he had access to the books.
Maznah, you